I want to ask you to think about your goals and dreams in 3 areas. Number 1, what's some personal goal that you have for someone that you love? My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. That's what I wanted to do. I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions before catching the bus going back to Liberty City in Overtown in Miami, and said, Mama, she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm gonna buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. I may have somebody that you like to do something for that's personal to you. Raise your hands, please. Very good. I want you to think about that. I'm going to share with you some strategies how you can make that happen. Next thing is I want you to think about your financial freedom number. And when you reach that number, when you earn that amount of money, that you will feel a sense of relief. It take a lot of stress out of your life. It give you more time for yourself and for your family. And what that number is, if you wrote it down or if you're thinking about it, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And the reason that I want you to do that, I have found in my own life that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they have done what I did for the first part of my life. Aim too low and hit. And then I want you to think about your social contribution. I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world that allows us to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. One of the goals I have, every time I get on stage, I tell men that I was diagnosed 15 years ago with prostate cancer, given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. One of the things I believe doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is that my ability to help you has terminated. So I encourage men to get their PSA test, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, and the digital rectal examination. And I'll be glad when they can check our prostate by looking in our ears. Can you feel it, brother? Up at here, up at here. I was at this medical convention, a friend of mine said, hey, Les, let me give you a free rectal. I said, no, buddy, you too motivated. Homie don't roll like that, you know what I mean? I was at Florida Hospital. Guy came in, new doctor, didn't say hello, good morning, anything. Goes get some gloves and some petroleum jelly. I said, hey, buddy, this is our first date. Hey, you got to bring me some potato chips, some M&M peanuts. We got to sit down and talk. I got to get relaxed. What's your mama name? I can't believe I'm telling y'all this. I'm turning red, but y'all can't see it. Oh my God. One of the goals I have is to train. My gifting is in the area of helping you to discover your power voice, how to become a powerful presenter. That's what multi-level marketing does. The money's in the front of the room. The money's in 101, small groups on the telephone. Your ability to present yourself. A gentleman changed my life, Mr. Leroy Washington. He's in his 90s now. He's blind from glaucoma. I never forget the first day we met. I went in his class. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for us. I said, oh, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't do that, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's DT. He's got a twin brother. His twin brother, Wesley, is smart. He's DT. He said, what does DT stand for? He's the dumb twin. And many of the kids laughed, just like some of you did. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. That was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. but look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left, and look them in the eyes and say, you have something special. Do that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you have something special. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you based upon my own experience. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Just the fact that you showed up, the fact that you said yes to this industry, it says a lot about you. You're uncommon. Because it means that you have a sense of taking responsibility for your own life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that will make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You've experienced setbacks and disappointments like everybody else in the economy, but you're operating out of the thinking of one L.C. Robinson, who said things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. You have something special. For some of you, it was a struggle to get here. You couldn't afford to be here, but there's something in you that said, I can't afford not to be here. You have something special. You are uncommon. One great American said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I don't wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before a master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. That's what it means to be a part of multi-level marketing, an uncommon desire to live your dream and control your destiny. There's something in you. It says that you're not sitting back waiting to see what politicians will do for you. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to focus on the general economy. I'm going to focus on my personal economy. There's something in you that says the most dependable hand in the world is the one at the end of your risk. There's something in you that says always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You are different. You have greatness within you. Dr. Howard Thurman, come forth, is a man that after having 238 radiation seed implants, and my PSA continued to increase. In fact, last year this time it was over 1,500, and the little C cancer had eaten 40% of my T1 vertebrae. And I was reading his words that night after leaving Florida Hospital, and doctors had told me that cancer had reappeared and metastasized in 8 areas of my body. And I began to laugh as the doctor spoke to me, and he was looking real serious. He said, why are you laughing? I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. And now my PSA is 0.0. I'm debt-free, cancer-free. Yes, indeed. I stand before you because of God's grace and mercy. And trust me, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. But Dr. Thurman was called upon by Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. He said, Howard, I want you to mentor my boy, MLK. He was a member of an elite group of orators and mystics and philosophers in his day. He was an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and to Abbot Schweitzer. He wrote, deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment. He wrote some words that I was reading around 3 o'clock in the morning that grabbed me. He said the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. He said, but imagine being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. You never used those abilities. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what books, what leadership, what voice, what story will die with you? Miles Monroe, great speaker out of the Bahamas, said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is there you'll find potential never realized. There you'll find books never written. There you'll find abilities and skills and talents and gifts the world never had exposure to. Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau asked in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. God had so much more in mind for you. Maybe that's why he said, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Everybody let us say together, live full, die empty. And the people in this room have decided to live full. The people in this room have decided to die empty. The people in this room have decided to live life on their terms and not to be a volunteer victim. When you say yes to this industry, you're saying yes for a bigger life. You're saying yes, I'm tired of playing small. You're saying yes, I'm ready to be empowered to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. You're saying yes to providing for yourself and your family. There's something that's in you that says, I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. You're saying yes to your life, yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. I didn't do this for years. I would go in the balcony of auditoriums and watch Jim Rohn, Dr. Dennis Waitley, and Zig Ziglar. And my heart would beat so fast because I love helping people. How many of you love helping people? Raise your hands. I love helping people. And my heart said, I can do that. But then when I would leave there, and as I was walking to the car, my mental conditioning began to speak. And it would say, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you have something to say that somebody would listen to you? Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, IBM? You've never worked for a major corporation. Les Brown, you can't do that. You were adopted. You don't even know who your parents are. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do? You felt it in your heart, and then your mind talked you out of it. Raise your hands, please. I convinced myself that I couldn't do it. I learned something from that experience. Whenever there's an argument between your heart and your mind, follow your heart. There are things that the heart can understand and feel that the mind cannot relate to. Maybe that's why my favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things that you feel, that you know in your heart of hearts, that's not logical, it's not practical, it's not realistic, but there's something in you that says, I can do this. I can do this. After facing defeats and disappointments and failures again and again and again, there's still something in you that says, I can do this. Operating out of a thinking when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because when you can look up, you can get up. I can do this. I can do this. When you present and people say, oh yes, I'd like to be a part of that. Yes, they have the personality and they need it, and they don't show up. You end up being a babysitter. You have to be a counselor and a psychologist and a minister. They challenge you to pray to Jesus and Yahweh and Melchizedek and Buddha. They'll get on your last nerve, have you chanting, Nomi Yoho Renge Kyo. It's interesting when you talk to people about securing their future, and you can't help them to become actively engaged in their own life. A friend of mine named Lorraine had me to come to do an intervention with her brother that was addicted to drugs, and he told us to get out of his house. And as we were going down the steps, I said, I'm sorry I failed. I'm so disappointed. And she said something that I'll never forget. I want you to remember. She said, Les, most people won't participate in their own rescue. Wow. Most people won't participate in their own rescue. You have a vehicle that will allow them to create their own job. You have products that people need. You have training and coaching where they'll be in business for themselves, but not by themselves. You have leadership of people who've proven that it's possible you can live your dreams. It's possible you got a shot at creating a fortune. Everybody's not going to do it. We can't predict performance. And all you are saying, hey, listen, here's an opportunity. And don't take it personal when people say no to you. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to themselves. They're saying no to living a bigger life. They're saying no to what's going on in their head because they're suffering from possibility blindness. They can't see themselves doing more. They don't want to do that extra work. So they're saving you some time. They know they're trifling and don't want to work. Don't try and convince them to say yes. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. This is hard work. H-A-R-D and H-E-A-R-T. Hard work and heart work. You got to gut this out. You've got to know your vitamin. You've got to fail your way to success. You've got to be unstoppable. You have to operate like Willie Jolly, who said a setback is a setup for a comeback. You've got to be relentless when you're building a business. You've got to be able to have courage after you face rejection and again and again and again. After somebody tell you they're going to show up and then they don't come, they don't return your calls. It takes courage. Go out and start talking to people. It takes courage when creditors are breathing down your neck and family members saying, oh, there he goes again with another pyramid scheme. Am I making sense to you? What I'm doing. I didn't do this for 14 years because I didn't have the courage. I was afraid of being rejected because I don't have a college education. I had a tremendous inferiority complex. and something else. In order to make this business successful, to go from a 9 to 5 to 5 until you faint, it's a different mindset. It requires a radical change. How many of you know that it's hard building a thriving residual income on a monthly basis? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, that's why most people won't say yes. It's much easier to complain about the economy. It's much easier to complain about our elected officials. It's much easier to talk about the recession. That's much easier. To come up with excuses and why you can't do it. That's where I was. That's why I set up station for a long time. My mentor said something to me, Mike Williams. I want you to write this down. He said, anybody can complain. He said, if you do what is easy, that's complaining. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Come on now, that's strong medicine. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams, become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one. Dr. Thurman, I love him so much. What a great writer. He said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you that you invested the time and money to go to the airport, to fly cross country. I suggest to you, some of you drove here. I suggest to you, you showed up because you said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I'm going to control my own life. Nobody will ever pull my strings again.
One of the things about you, Les, is that your life is such an example of what's possible. I mean, everybody, I want you to just picturing this about this beautiful man. I want you, he's born, his mother ends up giving him to adoption to Mamie, he and his brother. They live in these conditions. He's 10 years old. His mother has to go away for a while. He's got to support the family. He's had all these incidents he's had to observe up close. There are other ones with his mother when she's cleaning houses and this woman claps her hands because she's got to know when her mother's in a room, because she's going to steal something, which his mother would never do. This man goes on to influence millions, I mean, literally millions of people's lives. And then this is what's great about all of us making our dreams come true. When you make your dreams come true, the dreams of other people and dreams you can't picture also come true, because then he influences this goofy dude, me, 20-something years old, working at an orphanage, and it inspires me to change my life. So it's just, your life is such an example. And what's interesting to me, Les, is it was mainly tied to mom, meaning you wanted to do something great for your mother all your life. And that was bigger, I think, than any obstacle that got in your way. I'd like you to share this with people, because I think most people don't understand the power of having something big you're going after that means more to you than the pain you're going to have to go through in order to get it. I don't think enough people set huge, big goals that are from the heart. Don't you agree?
Yes, you said that. I was listening to you last night. You know, Dexter Yeager, as you know from Amway, he said if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. One, there's power in pursuit, because as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you are to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness in us. And follow me as I say this, as this downward. We all have stories of greatness within us. In the beginning was the Word. Thou shalt decree a thing, it shall be established unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When shall it come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, is neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And that kingdom is voice activated. So when you speak, people who are in a dark place, you will bring them out into the light. When you speak, somebody's got a gun to their head. When you speak, they'll realize life is God's gift to me, and how I live my life is my gift to God. When you speak, someone who's depressed and feeling anxious will remember, be anxious for nothing. I'll keep thee in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. So that's the power that you bring, and all the products that you have on YouTube that I mean, how ironic. They said, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I've been so marinated listening to your stuff, and then you've been listening to me. Come on, look at God. What a mighty God we serve. Come on, you can't make this stuff up.
That's like my honor to think that you listening to my stuff. I got to tell you,
Yes.
you guys, you just get what I told you all, you just have this treasure. It's like, you never want to stop hearing from Les. I mean, he's just remarkable. And the way you pull things and download them from all these places is just, it's mind blowing. I wish I were that great.
You are the messenger and you are the message. That's made, you got people who are speaking out here. It's been hijacked with speaking to sell. We sell people on their greatness. We sell people on the things that they need to do now, the methods, the techniques, the strategy to create the next greatest version of themselves. And when we do that, we know that when we make that kind of impact, we know that we're in the place of what Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author, he said, what in the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone and destroyed when I'm gone? And the people that listen to your program and their mind and their vision has been expanded, you give them a vision of themselves beyond the adversities of what they're experiencing in this place where we are right now, and help them to begin to live their life from a place of optimism, that they're going to impact other people, and those people are going to impact other people. And this work that you, as much as you have chosen this, you were chosen for this, and this work will not be undone. You're going to impact generations yet unborn.
How many of you know that if you had your life to live over again, you could do more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. Now, that proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. So I want you to think about some goals that you'd like to achieve, and I'd like for you to, let's say, break them up in 3 categories. Number 1, I want you to think about some personal goal you'd like to achieve. And I'd like for you to think about some career goal, some business goal that you'd like to achieve. And I want you to think about some social contribution, some impact you'd like to make with your life. It was Horace Mann who said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. I believe we live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to leave our mark, to make a statement with our lives. And as you think about these goals, whatever those goals are, I want you to dramatically increase those goals. And I want to warn you, I don't want you to think about how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. The most important thing is just to increase those goals dramatically. I've found that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. And many don't aim at all. So raise the bar on yourself and don't ask how you're going to do it. I'll never forget when I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. I saw the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and my heart said, I can do that. But my mind asked the question, how? And for over 14 years, I would go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Jim Rohn and different speakers, and I would be in the audience, and my heart would pounce and say, you can do that, Les. And then when I would leave, I would be going to the parking lot, and my mind said, how are you going to do it? And I spent so many years trying to figure out how. I wasted 14 years. How many of you ever procrastinated? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, see, so as you begin to think about your goals, the most important thing is, and write this down, commit yourself. See, once you commit yourself, the how will come, the way will come. Once you commit yourself, you will then figure it out. And if you're going in the wrong direction, all you have to do is turn around and go in the other direction. You will figure it out. You want to begin to just challenge yourself. You want to stretch yourself because you really don't know what you can't do. I'll never forget the first day that I met Mr. Washington. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother. And when we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted. And when I was in the 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. And I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I don't have any college education, but because of my mother, and I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I saw a sign once that said that God took me from my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So my first major goal was to buy my mother a home, to take care of my mother. And I did that, took care of her until she passed at 88. But I'll never forget when I met Mr. Washington. I was in a class waiting on another student, and he came in and he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for us. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, sir, I can't do what you're asking me to do. He said, why? Sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. And as the students erupted in laughter, he came from behind his desk, he looked at me and he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated. But on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is. He only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be. Then he becomes what he should be. And so Mr. Washington, he challenged me. And I want to challenge you right now about raising your goals, and I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, stretch yourself. Yeah, see, I think that you really have to stretch yourself to discover your stuff. I think that we have to really begin to experiment with life. And I said that you have something special. I didn't say that just to be kind of courteous. You do. See, I think that there are not many people that come to seminars or workshops or will watch a program of this nature. Why? I just think that most people are just satisfied to where they are. I'm reminded of a man one day. He was walking down the street and he passed his porch where some people were on the porch talking, and there was a dog moaning and groaning. And he was curious why the dog was moaning and groaning. And he went back and he said, excuse me, he asked the owner, why is the dog moaning and groaning? The guy said, because he's laying on a nail. He said, well, why won't he get off? He said, it's not hurting bad enough for him to get off. Just hurting bad enough to moan and groan. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. How many of you know people, all they do is moan and groan? Moan and groan. I'm not making enough money. Moan and groan. I'm unhappy with my job. 87% of people go to jobs that they hate. And in addition to that, You know, as we know that we have the dubious distinction in this country that on Monday morning, the heart attack rate increases over 35%. On Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 9, people going to jobs that they hate. The heart said, didn't I tell you I didn't want to go? And attack them. Some of you don't want to go to work next Monday. So the thing is this. So you want to find out what resonates with you. What is it you really want to do? You want to experiment with life and find out what fits for you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. See, I believe that anybody through observation and practice can perform at the level of excellence. But when you're pursuing your greatness, and this is worth writing down, you don't know what your limits are, and you act like you don't have any. So I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness within you. And I want to make 4 things clear. Number 1, everything that I'm going to say, you already know it. If what I share, the message that I'm going to express right now and share with you, if it wasn't a part of who you are already, you wouldn't be in the audience. That's number 1. That's very important. It's already in you. I'm going to only confirm and validate that which is a part of you anyhow. The second thing is everything I'm going to say to you, you've heard it before. From people with college degrees and credentials, I can't hold a candle to. It's common sense, but not common practice. Third thing is, I don't want you to agree with me, and I don't want you to believe me. I just want you to be open to some things right now. I want you to think beyond that which is commonly allowed. And I'm going to tell you what I'm up to. I want you to think about your goals, and I want to tell you what I'm going to do right now. My whole goal is to get past your mind. That's my whole challenge, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to do that. See, your assignment was to show up. My assignment is to get past your mind and get into your heart. Once you think about the goals that you want to achieve, and I really want to challenge you to make up your mind that you're going to make that happen for yourself. And I hope that it's some goal that really resonates with who you are. When I was a little boy, my goal was to just buy groceries for our family. My mother worked on Miami Beach. She was a domestic worker. And my goal was to really be able to go to the grocery store and purchase groceries ourselves. The families knew that my mother had adopted 7 children. And so they said, Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can take that home to the children. They were very kind, very, very considerate people. My mother, who when she worked on Miami Beach, the people were very kind. I was appreciative of their generosity. But as a little boy, I said, Mama, one day, when I become a big boy, I'm going to be able to provide groceries for us. My goal as a little boy was to buy clothes for my brothers and sisters. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that Mama babysat for when she went over in Miami Beach. And if the clothes were too small, she would let them out. And if they were too large, Mama could sew and take them up. And I'll never forget David Sidursky. His father was very wealthy. Mama worked for him, but David was my buddy. And so his father gave him 2 gifts for his birthday. Gave him a brand new boat, but he also gave him some motivational tapes. Earl Nightingale, I'll never forget. So he said, David, man, let me tell you something. When I die, you're going to get everything. I want you to listen to these tapes. And when his father left the room, David threw those tapes in the wastebasket. I said, David, could I have those tapes? He said, yes. I said, man, your father said, if you listen to these, you can get more and do more than what he's done. He said, hey, look, I'm going to get everything anyhow. Go ahead and take them. I told my children, I'm not leaving them anything. You know, if I had a quarter and thought I was going to die, I'll swallow it. Write this down. It's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. Not what you leave for them, what you leave in them. No, absolutely not. Tell you something else happened. I'll never forget. Mama came home one day and said, Leslie, David sent you a new pair of shoes his father got for him. I said, oh, Mama, thank you so much. I can't wear David's shoes. I said, why? Well, you tell my buddy that, you know, I wear size 9.5. He wears size 9. She said, boy, shut up, sit down, and put those shoes on. She said, Marvin Ann, go get some Vaseline. And she came in there, and my sister started rubbing the Vaseline on my feet. And she said, run some water in the bathtub. And she's not going there and put your feet in those shoes and don't mash the heel down. I said, Mama, shut up, boy, don't mash the heel down. And then she had me to get in the bathtub. I said, Mama, these shoes hurt. She said, get in there and walk around in the water. And I'm walking around the bathtub. Then she tried to distract me. I knew what she was doing. How'd you do at school today? I did good. Did you get in any fights? No, ma'am. You know you fought somebody. Well, I only hit 3 people today. and then after a while, she said, how you doing? I said, well, they hurt. Do they hurt as bad as they were before? No, ma'am, they feel a little bit better. Keep on walking, keep on walking. And then after a while, when the leather soaked up the water, the leather began to stretch to a perfect 9.5. You think Fortune 500 companies started talking about doing more with less? My mother's been doing that for a long time. It's amazing what you can do. But who would have thought, anybody looking in on this kid and these 7 children, who would have thought? And I look at you, I say, you have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. No one could have convinced me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now. You know, the easiest thing I do every year is go into a sales organization and dramatically increase their sales, or go into a prison and enable prisoners to see themselves differently and teach them the methods and techniques of how to plug into the system, or motivate young people to begin to see how they can have a vision of themselves in the future and fit. That's the easiest thing I do, or train a speaker to help them to leverage their experience as a speaker and say, look, speaking is a projection of who you are, not who you think you ought to be, and come with power from a platform. That's the easiest thing I've ever done. Let me share with you the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do what I'm now doing. No one could have convinced me, just given my circumstances. I earn millions of dollars every year. No one could have convinced me. If both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. No one could have convinced me, being labeled educable, mental retarded, born in an abandoned building on the floor in Liberty City, poor section of Miami, Florida, failing twice in school, no college training, never worked for a major corporation. I did not know I can do what I'm doing right now. Never forget Mike Williams, my mentor. I think a lot of people fail in life because of the fact that they need some mentoring, they need some coaching. Repeat out to me, please. You need some coaching. Yeah, see, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. I remember Mike saying, Les, you can do this. Mike, how, man? Wait a minute, Mike. How much am I going to be able to charge, Mike? Les, you could start out at $1,000 an hour. Mike, I don't make that working for 2 weeks. Come on, Mike. Man, I appreciate your belief in me, Mike. Look, Mike, I work for the Miami Sanitation Department, man. I've been a garbage collector. I've done door-to-door sales. That was great, and I'm here as a disc jockey. That's good, Mike, but Mike, I don't think I can do that. Les, you can. But Mike, I don't have any credentials. I've never written any book, anything, man. I'm not rich. How can I teach somebody to do something I've never done? But Les, why don't you just test yourself? Why don't you stretch, Les? Come on, man. Mike, I don't know. And here's something I realized. Write this down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I respect Mike Williams. Here, this young man, he saw something in me that I didn't see it, in strong analytical mind. And I looked at him. I always respected his thinking. And he looked at me and he made me feel special. And I said, okay, Mike. And I just kept holding on to what Mike said to me. I just kept holding on to what Mr. Washington said to me. I kept holding on to my mother saying, you're special, Leslie, when they said you're educable, mentally retarded. Mama didn't know what that meant. She only had a 3rd grade education. So she said, he'll be all right, or the hard head make a soft behind. He'll be fine. But she said, you're special, baby. You are special. And they kept saying that over and over again. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so here's what I want you to do. Let us say together, as you think about your goals and your dream, let us say together, it's possible. Together, please.
It's possible.
Say it like you mean it.
Thank you. Write that down. See, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, young man who wrote a book about success principles of the three little pigs. He said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from being successful or happy in life. It's not what you don't have. See, I was focused on what I didn't have. Don't have a college degree, don't have any credentials, never worked for a major corporation. I was focused on the negative things and said, negative things are the things that you see when you're not focused on your goal. What do you come with? What is it that you have within you that you showed up to bring? Hey, Les, you don't know, but my dream is a long shot. A friend of mine, Dexter Yeager, said when the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. I'm reminded of a great man when I was reading Time magazine talking about some of the great minds of the last century. They didn't mention his name, Dr. Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and also an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Schweitzer. And he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted on, the talents, the gifts, the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died this very moment, what will die with you? What dreams? What ideas? What talents? What leadership potential? What greatness that you showed up to bring? That you allowed fear or procrastination to hold you back? Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote the words, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Repeat after me, please, with power, feeling, and conviction. I refuse to die an unlived life. Yes, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, live your dream. Yeah, I think we should all resolve. I refuse to die an unlived life. Don't worry about the odds. You survived 1 out of 40 million sperms. You will never have those odds again. You beat those odds, you can win anything. Here's something else stops most people. You know what it is? Failure. Let us say together, I will fail my way to success. Yes, write that down. I will fail my way to success. See, 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. And I believe that the reason that most people go so far in life, and stop, Maya Angelou said it best. She wrote a poem. She said that most people go so far in life and then they park. They pull off the highway of life. Especially when they get some hits, especially when they've been rejected, especially if they have an illness, especially if they lose something, they park. And I take it further. They don't even turn on their emergency lights. It's not because that they are broken down. They don't want anybody to stop and say, hey, look here, I've got some jumping cables in my trunk. You need a jump? Hey, look here, there's a service station ahead about 3 or 4 miles. I have a can. I can take you up there and get some gasoline. Oh, no, I'm just fine. I had a talk show once, and highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of television. Well, at least I had one. And I was excited. You know, when time I came into television years ago, television was based upon conflict and controversy. So I said, I want a solution-oriented talk show. First concept of that kind. High ratings. And the syndicators say, you just got lucky. Come on, let's do these other type of shows. You can be a Jerry Springer. Oh, no, that's not why I came here. No, I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world where we should hold ourselves to certain standards. I'm not going to come here and sell out on who I am. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to lower my standards for you. No, that's not why I showed up. And so they fired me. Security walked him out. I said, I can walk by myself. But let me tell you what happened. I took a hit and I parked. It wasn't that I didn't have the ability to do more. My concept was good. But what happened when I took the hit, when they canceled the show, I canceled myself. When they said the show is going to be taken off television, it won't work, I told myself, Les, you can't succeed in television. And I parked. You know what I did? I went back to my comfort zone. As a motivational speaker, at least I'm doing better than most people. That's nothing to compare yourself to worse that other people are doing and then make yourself feel better. No, I parked. I didn't have my emergency lights on. I didn't want to show up on the radar. I parked. You know how long I parked? I parked for 10 years. Do you hear me? Now, unlike Regis Philbin, when his shows were canceled, he kept going, he kept going, he kept going, and he got other shows. I bet you somebody gave him a push. Somebody said, hey, you need a lift? I didn't even make that an option for me. I got off the highway, I went back to my comfort zone, and I parked. The show failed, and I identified myself as a failure. And guess something happened. One day, just flipping the channels, looking at PBS, and saw Wayne Dyer, my friend Wayne Dyer. And boy, I said, wait, we're both in our 60s. Wayne is still doing it. Wow, the little hair he has, it's gray, he's still there. I said, hey, I've got some more stuff in me. I've got another PBS special in me. I've got some other ideas. You know, Oprah and Phil, they're doing my stuff. Maybe I need to come back out here. And I went back and started calling PBS and different people. They said, Les, what happened to you? I said, well, I didn't know whether or not anybody would be interested in me because the show was canceled. No, you had some good ideas. And when they said, yeah, we would love to do a show with you, I said, you would? They said, yes. And when I went into the studio and people that worked with 10 years ago, they were still there. And I said, you guys, you know, do you guys still have it? They said, we have it. Do you have it? I said, I think so. And I did the show, and I wasn't as good as I was 10 years ago because I was off the highway. I'd gotten off the highway of life. I'd been parked for so long, it's taking me some time to get my strength back, to find my power, to get my confidence back. But at least I'm back out there in the game, determined to dry empty. So I say to you, see, I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. Just gonna get that in a minute. You have something special. You have greatness within you. And the only reason you're here, you are my assignment. You can feel me. Some of you feel me right here in your heart of hearts. And my goal is to get past your mind and into your heart. So it's necessary that you have the mindset that I can do this. You've got to begin to believe and to fortify that belief and feed that belief by listening to tapes, going to seminars and workshops, by challenging yourself, by stretching yourself. It was Osborne who said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. And as you begin to challenge yourself, you'll discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. The other thing is you begin to look at yourself, look at your dreams, and begin to experiment and stepping into your greatness. One of the things that's very important, whatever goals and dreams that you have, repeat after me, please. Make your move before you're ready. You have Price Pritchett, who's a great motivator and trainer, said, make your move before you're ready. We're instructed in life to walk by faith and not by sight. See, you want to really begin to stretch yourself. You want to become a risk taker. You want to raise the bar on yourself. Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low-life living, low-risk living. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. And so, you want to begin to take some chances. You want to begin to challenge yourself and make it okay to fail and learn from your failures. Don't allow fear of failure and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.